Good evening, everybody. I'm Brandon. This is my friend Jeff. Jeff's over here, and we are doing episode 2 of michED Live. What we want to do is just kind of look at the Twitter chat that goes on Wednesday nights, the michED community, and highlight the things that are, really pop out at us, and really give some exposure to this group. So, Jeff's here. Jeff, tonight's topic is classroom management. You are as recent as last year, a classroom teacher, so I expect amazing things out of you.
Oh, that's high expectations. A lot of good conversation going on so far. May just want to jump into the conversation early. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. So the question number one was, and by the way, Ann Smart and our good buddy Tara Maynard, the amazing Tara Maynard, are hosting tonight, so we got to give them their golf clap here. Yeah. Exactly. So question number one is, what classroom management mistakes did you make early in your career? How can we support new or all teachers with classroom management? And Jeff, I see you start a couple that you thought were some pretty extraordinary examples.
yeah, I've been retweeting like crazy just to file these things. There's kind of a balance here that I was seeing. Chris Conrad said, mistake, punitive rules never really worked for me. Set rules that allow students to be students, but set expectations for behavior. There's a couple more here that were about like being a boss, being a tyrant. Jeremy Heiler said, I made the mistake of trying to be a tyrant and always doing rules and routines the first day of school. Kids don't take very well to like the that artificial big bad boss thing. I know that that's really taught in pre-service a lot. But on the other side of things, there was a couple tweets, and I'm trying to find them now, where people are talking about being too much, being a friend. Ann Smart actually said, I tried to be the cool teacher, not so cool with high school students. So like there's a balance in between there, right?
Right.
Like,
you don't want to be too strict and turn them, make them, close you out, and you don't want to be like too easygoing and stuff. You've got to strike a nice balance in between, right?
Yeah. I really relate to Rob Patton said, and this sounds like something I would say my first year of teaching. I was never a tyrant, but spent way too much time having all the right all right, everyone, you're being disrespectful kind of talks. I like throughout disrespect and you're hurting my feelings kind of stuff. Like taking everything so personally and expecting them to understand what respectful behavior was as opposed to disrespectful behavior.
Yeah, and so you found that wasn't really an effective strategy in affecting their behavior. It just reflected on yourself, like, hey, you guys are bothering me.
Right, like they don't care. I mean, like, students care, but they don't necessarily. They're not going to respond just because you play the empathy card. Like it's not a personal exchange. They're not being disruptive because they hate you. And I think that's something that I had to personally get over real quickly, and I bet that's something that a lot of teachers deal with, is taking that stuff personally.
Definitely. Now, if there's anything I've learned from movies about teachers, Stand and Deliver, what was the one with Michelle Pfeiffer that had Coolio? Gangsta's Paradise? No, that's the song. I don't even remember the movie. But Stand and Deliver, Lean on Me, those ones. It's like a hard-nosed teacher and really getting in their face and stuff like that. I guess that's not true to life, is it? According to what Rob says. Rob is at TalkEdTV if you want to follow Rob. Give Rob a favorite or a retweet. Hey, man.
Good thoughts there, Rob.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one from Sarah is sort of touching on what you had just said about your personal reflection. Sarah Provenziola says, the biggest mistake was taking students' behavior too personally. I would tell new teachers always be in control of oneself. So taking their behavior as a personal insult or feedback against yourself. You don't want to do that. You can't do that.
You know what, too, Brandon, is like I think as experience has a lot to do with it too. Like you come out of student teaching and your teacher prep stuff with a lot of different theories from a lot of different behavior management specialists, and you try a bunch of different things out, and you really are trying to be someone else a lot of times, and you forget to be yourself. And one of the biggest things about classroom management is just being yourself. Kids respond well to you being yourself and being comfortable. They can tell when you're comfortable. They can tell when you're not. They're pretty perceptive that way. So I I think one of the biggest pieces of advice that kind of a veteran teacher gave me was just relax, stay calm. Everything's going to be all right, and you'll get this soon enough. I mean, it's about relationships, building relationships with kids.
It sounds like a Bob Marley song. Don't worry, be yourself. Your teacher's gonna be, he's gonna be all right. That's what you were basically saying,
I
right?
think so. I think we should have people tweet in song lyrics with classroom management practices.
All right. We'll try to incorporate those song lyrics, and hopefully there's no like Nickelback or anything like that.
That would be
So Andrew Shover, HS_math_PHYS, says, also let students know early that correcting their behavior is done in the spirit of teaching and community, not punishment. So if you frame it in the mind of like hey, in this classroom, we all respect each other and stuff like that, and you're not like coming down on them trying to punish them. Does that ring true for your experience?
Yeah, it's that safe environment theory, right? That we're all in this together. Building community is a really important part that doesn't necessarily seem like it's behavior management because it's proactive behavior management versus reactive, right? No, I think that's great
Sure.
advice from Andrew.
Definitely. On question two is, what are some proactive classroom management strategies that you use to prevent behavior problems? This is something that you mentioned before we went on the air that was, near to your heart, having just come from that environment. Did you find any tweets that sort of reflected that?
Yeah, James. Oh man, Ekdahl. Is that how I'm
It's like James Echtel. Yeah.
Ekdahl? Yeah. In like replying to Ann Smart said, I've always believed that the best classroom management starts with a solid, engaging lesson plan. Students that are engaged. I mean, most of the reason why there are behavior problems is lack of engagement. So if you have an engaging lesson, sometimes that can just take care of itself. Andrew Shover, or Shaver, or Shover, also let students know early that correcting their behavior. You already said that, didn't you?
I did say that. Sorry.
You said that for 8-1. Oh yeah, that's what I have for 8-2. What do you have
It's
for 8-2?
such a good answer that it applies to
It
everything.
just applies to everything.
For sure. So I've had one, and the community is just so robust that it just all of the tweets come in so fast, and it's hard to really, pinpoint, just keep up with it all. So we're doing our best. By all means, if you want to join us, please let us know, and we'd love to have you on the show as well. Boom, 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 boom.
Maybe we even put the link out there for them to join.
Can we do that?
I think we could do that.
All right, it's way more than 140 characters, I think, if you look at the URL. But we're happy to just give it a try. I've still got that Bob Marley / Jeff Gerlach song in my head. Okay, so for question number 2, the proactive classroom management strategies, Janet Nayer, who's at Janet Neyer, says proactively give students voice and choice. And that's related to what you just said. The more engaged the students are, the less time there is to goof around or disrupt or just tune out, right?
Yeah, and that voice and choice. When you have ownership in your own learning, you feel like you have more control over it. I think a lot of times behavior problems result from getting told to do absolutely everything, right? Sit
Right.
in your seat, don't talk. Now we want you to talk. Now stop talking. That over control thing.
Yeah, and our good friend Kit Hart says, yeah, shared ownership is key. He's responding to Janet Nair. Um, Remember Kit? We met it. We met him. Good guy.
I didn't meet Kit. I didn't
Oh,
get to
you
go
weren't
on
there.
a
Yeah,
special
that's right.
vacation with you guys.
That's right. Good time.
Your retreat. Yeah, Kit seemed actually. So Dave sent pictures back from that event, and I saw Kit in the picture that he sent back, and I was like, "Is that Kit?" Because he's one of the people that I had never met face to face that I would have really enjoyed connecting with out there. So
Yeah, he's a
uh,
famous guy.
we'll
Good dude.
we'll meet face to face sometime, Kit.
Someday.
And I'm sorry in advance.
Yeah. And another one of our friends, Rochelle Weinkoop, says modeling expectations, positive interactions more than negative, using teachable moments instead of rules, rules, rules. This is a theme that it seems to be,
All together now, all together now.
this is like the musical episode if you didn't know beforehand. So I'll grab I think I've got my kid's tambourine over there or something like that. I'll grab in a minute now. So yeah, that was number 2. Question number 3: how do you establish rules and routines in your classroom? How do you help establish student ownership in the classroom management process? I see a lot of good ones on this one, and a lot of pictures here too, which we can't show. I was going to try to figure out how to share my screen, but it was just too much. But Matinga says, create objectives that answer the "what's the point" question. Very important, right? Always gotta
Yeah,
have a
I
voice.
mean, why be there if you can't address what the point is? Sometimes the best solutions that we've been seeing tonight are the most simplistic and to the point.
Yeah.
Um, Matt Becker says, get student buy-in by reinvesting what works and what doesn't, um, or revisiting. I'm sorry about that. Revisiting what works and what doesn't. Constant reflection. Guide them through problem solving, and then they can own it. And that's a great tweet, Matt.
Oh, look at that username at MBCK. 4 letters.
Hey, I talk a
Big
lot.
time.
I talk a lot about short, concise Twitter handles, don't I?
Absolutely.
But that's a good one.
Yeah, he has 4. You've got 5. I thought 5 was good, man.
Yeah,
4, even better.
excellent. We should buy him a Sprite and then have him give us a short Twitter handle like that.
You're a fool if you think that's what it would go for.
A Sprite?
Yeah.
Do you think Sprite? Do you think I'm
$10,000.
overvaluing
I
it?
bet you. I bet you could get $10,000 for that.
$10,000?
Yeah.
Do people actually pay for
Oh yeah,
Twitter
of
names?
course, man.
All right. So still on question 3.
Question 3. Yeah, Heather Worrell says, at Heather Worrell is her username. Classroom expectation recipe: model, practice, praise, reteach, rinse, and repeat. I guess that's the MPPRRR, the MP3Rs rule, which
Yeah, I don't know how clean your teeth will be after that, though.
yeah, or a shampoo bottle. That's right. But you know what? It's good what she's saying here. You model
Yeah.
what you want, from your students, and you practice it with them. You praise them, and you reteach it, and you rinse and repeat. Well, that's just silly. You don't rinse the kids. But hey, I guess if they're really dirty or whatever. Philip Whitelaw at Philip Whitelaw says rules can be placed. Oh no, he retweeted it. Darn. This is a lot harder than it looks. It's a retweet of Emmy Rider, which is Emmy Ride 2016. Rules can be placed, but they need to be enforced to make a difference. It needs to be an effort from teachers and students. So again, we have this theme of engagement and modeling the behavior.
And on the surface there, the statement is, if you're going to put a rule out there, make sure that you enforce it, because a rule that's not enforced, is useless, and then also it shows that you're wishy-washy and you don't stick to your guns. But some subtext that's making me think about is like actually creating enforceable kind of rules or kind of themes for your class. When you're building your community, establish something with that you can work within, that can be flexible for your needs instead of rigid. No talking when I'm talking, and no, don't kind of things.
Yeah. Well, Todd Block. We know his name's Todd Block, right? It's not
Block.
Blotch. It's not Bloach. It's Todd Block.
Hey
He
Todd.
says, "Hey Todd, Jeff said your name right tonight," and he says, "My posted rule is this: we show respect. That's all we need. Just like that song about respect. All you need is respect. Dun 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 dun. All you need is respect." Right? That was it. That was that song. No?
Yeah.
Okay. There's.
I think so.
It's a pretty.
Who did that?
It's a popular song.
The Jujubes?
No, it was Aretha Franklin, I think. She sang that song. All you need is respect. Something like that. Okay, that was bad. Let's move on to a question. Oh wait, no. Here's a couple of good ones. Question 4 will not be a snoozer, is what I hear here. Are we ready to move? Did you find any more 3s that you wanted to talk about, or you want to move on to 4s? I think he froze. I think Jeff froze again. He lives in a place where his internet isn't the most stable, so he might be running over and unplugging his router and plugging it back in. So in the meantime, I think we'll go on to question 4. So question 4 says, what are ways you embed classroom management into your instruction time? So how do you incorporate classroom management into your classroom time? Okay. All right. So Jeff, hope you're hurrying back because he's the one with way more experience than me. But I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna look at some of my some of the people in the michED chat that I love following.
Sorry to barge into probably the best 1 minute of the show.
It was a soliloquy about how much I like looking at the Twitter community, so the michED community. So I'm glad that you popped back in. So I just read question 4. Question 4 was, what are some ways you embed classroom management into your instruction time? Embedding into the instruction time.
Is that like with an iframe?
Not that kind of an embed.
iframe is the best way to embed, I think. Maybe.
It's no longer universal.
Yeah, but I like to hold on to my old ways. That's best practice for me.
That's amazing for someone to do, is just to not be flexible or anything.
Yeah.
Caitlin Grubb, Caitlin _GRUBB says engaging lessons, but I'm still struggling. Help. Sounds like Caitlin needs a little bit of help. What advice would you give Caitlin about incorporating the classroom management into the class time?
Well, thanks for putting me on the spot. So lessons are engaging, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the management still struggles, and I guess you need to know more information about her students and what motivates them, what her style is normally. A lot of the groundwork's laid in the first couple weeks here, so now's the time to lay down the expectations. Let them know your pet peeves. Let them keep those expectations simple, because usually it's something that's just one or two things that just drive you nuts throughout the course of a year that you're like, okay, I vow to never let that happen again, right?
Yeah.
And hang in there, Caitlin. There's good days and there's bad days, right? Um, and hey, and check in with this community. I'm sure that people have already responded to that question. And if you haven't,
Probably
shame on you.
faster and more
Find,
succinctly than we just have. But
yeah,
it's good advice that you give her. Check in with this what they call the PLN. The people on Twitter.
PLN News Network.
That's right. Here's another good one from James Ekdal. Sorry. It's okay to stop what you're doing to address a classroom management issue. I used to ignore and just move on. Students like that oh, that's his next tweet and unrelated. I thought it was a continuation, but what he says is, I think, astute. If you need to take time in the beginning of the class, or the beginning of the year, really, and just establish, hey, this isn't how we do things. Just so you know, this is how we're going to, carry forward. It's appropriate to do that in the beginning, right?
Yeah, I agree. When you first started talking about that, I thought, no, you know what? Sometimes brushing it off and keep going, can nip a lot of that in the bud. But no, he's right. You don't have to be demonstrative in addressing it, but you can just say what you said, Brandon. That's not how we do things here, and that's unacceptable. So, no, and then quickly move on. I think you run into trouble if you spend too much time, and you show too much emotion towards it, right? It's just gotta be a business transaction. That's just not how we do things.
You sound very much like Donald Trump. It's not how we do things. You're fired.
Not that Donald Trump should be your role model for how to run your classroom, but no, I think that not making behavior issues a personal thing is very important for all parties involved.
Yeah. So Ashley O'Connor says, use flow in with awareness. If we are aware of others and procedures, classroom stays in constant flow, multitasking, and management. First time I've seen Ashley on here. So Ashley, if you're new, welcome. If you aren't
Welcome,
new, I
Ashley.
am so sorry. Okay. Oh, here's one. So Heather Gauck, Gauck, says, I use Aurasma triggers of my class working and auras of them showing what they're expected to do. So Aurasma's that location-based app where I think it's using like
Augmented reality.
yeah, it's sort of like a virtual reality where you go to a location in the school and you record a video of like a student standing in front of like the water fountain and talking. Oh, this is the proper procedure for using the water fountain. And then the next time someone with that app goes by and they see a little trigger, like, oh, there's something here, and then they'll pop up. That video will pop up for any user who goes to that location. So what Heather is maybe suggesting is that modeling the good, find students who are modeling the best behavior and have them record one of those little auras, and someone else can open that app and then see that kid like, oh, well, that's how we stack the books or whatever. So it sounds like a cool thing. I haven't played with that too much, but it sounds like it'd be really cool to see like maybe some kids from another hour in your app. That's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool. I'd be interested, Heather, if you're watching or you get word that you were mentioned. Love to see some examples of what you do, like for behavior things with the augmented reality, and then also like let us know a little bit of the context of the kids that you teach, the age group and everything like that. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, so Doug Reagan, that's DRAGAN 39, says, if I do call a behavior out, just quick, no biggie, but sort of a check yourself, then move on. No disruption in the flow of lessons. So it sounds like he's in the middle of a lesson, and then it's like, oh hey, would you mind not doing that right now? And then going back into the flow of the lesson, and then just not making a big scene about it. I think I would probably appreciate that if I was a student.
Tommy, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself, okay?
Exactly. By Professor Ice Cube, I think was the origin of that. Ice Cube. Was
Yeah,
it Ice Cube or Ice T? I feel bad, but I always get their songs. I don't get their shows
you're
mixed
right.
up, but I get their songs mixed up sometimes.
I think you're right.
Ice
Now you
Tray,
got me
Ice
questioning
Cube.
it.
Yeah, not Vanilla Ice. I know. We don't need to talk about him. Ann Thorpe says it's at ATHORP says point out what needs to change. Sometimes they just don't know. That's a good point because maybe maybe a kid's like rocking in his chair and doesn't realize he's doing it. It's just like something that's he's doing like unconsciously, and then say, hey, did you know you're rocking chair? You probably don't want to do that right now. That's probably not the right way to approach it, but
No, but
you can't assume that they know, right? You can't assume that they know.
right, those, I mean, especially those rocking behaviors and stuff like that. Like, I know. I was actually talking with Mary Weaver a couple weeks ago about she has exercise balls in her classroom that she actually has the kids bring in if they need it, and just like that steady rocking on that exercise ball helps. I used to have like those stress balls, and if I saw a kid who was tapping and being loud disruptive, it's more of a tactile thing. That they need to move, need to do that stuff. So redirect it in a way that's what less disruptive, and hopefully that helps out. I mean, we don't always intend to be disruptions. I'm sure I'm really annoying to you on a day-to-day basis working with you, Brandon. But
Yeah, sometimes you just start singing for no reason, and it's like what, was that a Bob Marley song? Like, would lyrics change for some reason?
but
It's like,
Bob
oh, weird.
Marley just flows through me, and then I put whatever words that I want to it. So
That's right. You're like the Weird Al. Actually, that's our colleague Roman. He does that quite a bit. One more thing about question four before we move on. I've seen a lot of different tweets pertaining to keeping moving, like constantly walking around through the classroom while you're instructing. That way you're at some point or another near everyone who's in the class.
And a lot of that comes down to how you physically design your classroom. Make sure you have those alleys that you can move through. Make sure that you can that proximity control is huge, right? Standing next to a student is behavior management in itself. So make sure that you can get to everyone. Make sure that you can move around. You can cover all the areas so that you're not isolated to one spot, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So okay, let's move on to question 5. Time is just flying by, man.
Yeah, I know.
So question 5 says, how do you include parent buy-in in the classroom management process? And here's an answer that I like from Dawn Casey Rowe and her, get this username, running DMC. How cool is that?
Yes.
Running DMC. Okay, so Dawn says, humor is a great deal of my classroom management, so I'm teaching simultaneously. Rarely do I have to amp it up.
And that's comes back to the extension of your personality, right? I mean, being yourself and loving what you do goes so far with kids, and I know it can only go so far. I know that there's a lot of first-year teachers that love what they do and are excited to be there, but just don't have that are still struggling with that classroom management, and veteran teachers alike. I get you can never lose track of yourself though.
Absolutely. So I see a couple of here pertaining to a couple of answers pertaining to communication. Aaron Highfield at Educator Aaron says, communicate and be consistent. Ann Thorpe says, send a note home to parents at least once a month complimenting their kid, or call, but do it. Get and stay connected. Philip Whitelaw says, I email parents a welcome back email a week or two before school explaining expectations and how to communicate with me. So he's establishing that line of communication. This is how I'm going to communicate with you, and this is how you can get a hold of me anytime you need to.
Yeah, and I guess while you're doing that, keep in mind that you don't have to like communicate with every single parent every month, right? Like you don't have to overextend yourself. Like pick a couple kids that have made some progress that you're proud of, and and send a thoughtful letter home. I used to do that and got great response from parents, especially, don't send home the letter with the straight A student. Send home the letter with the kid that could use that positive reinforcement to let them know that, hey, you know, school school can be positive for you. I know a lot of these kids, they get into a trap where, they feel beaten down. Has anyone mentioned like Remind or any like tech
Yeah, a
tools that
couple.
they can?
Yeah, actually, it's funny you say that. Derek Brayman says he's also trying out Remind this year, so parents can see and appreciate the updates. Janine Campbell, Campbell Art at Campbell Art Soup, says keep it positive. I think blogging has helped me with that. So blogging about the experiences in the classroom can also keep the parents engaged and aware of what they've been doing on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I mean, great ideas. I like the blog idea so that you could have like a back and forth with the parents. I don't know, with with Remind, can you send a message back? Like,
I
could a parent send a message back, or is it a one-way street? Because
I
I always
think
thought it
you
was kind of a
can.
one-way street.
I just started investigating it like late last week, and I think that you can. I'm not 100%
Okay.
sure, but we can check on that. And um, Greg Edding says, spend time doing things you like. Tell good stories to parents. Bad stuff is always going to be there. So again, it's kind of piggybacking on what you said. Always have something positive to say. And
Always highlight the good, right?
yeah, right. Right. Okay. So are we on? Oh my goodness! Is it
You know
already
what?
8:53?
Tara and Anne have been rock stars at keeping this on pace. Like a lot of times, like it like lags behind a little bit because we let it breathe, but they've been right on it. So kudos to them.
Definitely. Oh yeah. Okay. So question 6 is, what are the most effective school policies to support classroom management? What policies does your school have in place, or do you wish that they had in place um, to reinforce classroom management? Are we ahead of the curve? I don't. I don't really see any. Oh my gosh, I'm so far down that I
I
can't
see
even tell.
sixes.
You do sixes? Okay, maybe I'm so far down.
Yeah. So let's see here.
Oh, here's another one from Matt Becker. When you've got such a short Twitter username and powerful one like MBCK, you gotta keep it active, man. Matt Becker says not too sure it's school's policies as much it is developing school culture. Culture eats structure for lunch. Culture is important, isn't it?
Yeah. And something else here that I thought was interesting. Janet Nair is at Janet Nair. The essential policy, or that essential policy, regards attendance. I just haven't seen the right one yet. Can't teach them if they're not there. And I think she even says that a little bit, like, haven't figured out that policy yet. But attendance is a huge issue in a lot of school districts.
It is, yeah. So Ben Gillett says, allow teachers to manage the classroom. Don't overregulate management issues with mandated discipline forms, right? Oh, gosh, this is a tricky thing. Actually, our friend Jeff Bush said that, and Ben Gillett gave it a +1. And Chris Conrad says, I like that our admin is always in the halls, getting to know students, relationships. michED office is a safe place for students. And Pete Van Kempen says, this is exactly right, to Lindsay C. Boyle, who says, attendance, tardy policy, period. Rebecca Young,
And Smart wanted to let me know that she's all about pacing.
she's all about pace. Hey, man, it's a great thing to be all about. Rebecca Young, who's at REBS Young, says consistency. Okay, maybe that's not a policy, but consistency, that's important.
Yeah, that kind of goes back to that whole if you're gonna make a rule, enforce it, right? Like be about what you preach about.
Be about what you Did you just coin that term? That's a great
Did
one.
I? Did
Be
I?
about what you preach about. It almost rhymes. It can't rhyme about with about, I guess, but be about what you. It,
About
it
does rhyme with
it
about.
sounds like a good
Same.
hook for like an early '90s rap song. Be about
Be
what you
about
preach
what you preach
about.
about. Be about what you preach about.
It
Yeah.
sounds like a good tune for like a Fruit Roll-Ups commercial. You know, they always had really good tunes going along with their stuff. Not to show my age or anything like that. Um, Ben Gillett says support and share the positives that the staff are already doing. Share that, district wide, share building wide, depending on your situation. Um,
Praise the good, right? That's a big theme of tonight. Praise the good and be consistent. They're already in the seven.
are they in the
Have you been
seven?
talking about tweets that are in number seven?
We haven't. I
What is the
think.
most important thing your building administrator can do to support classroom management?
What is the most important thing your building administrator can do to support classroom management?
I'm gonna pick a tweet at random because they're all good tonight. So Ben Gillett says, uh, build a positive culture of learning amongst the staff so they can take it into the classroom.
And Kelly De Los Santos says, get into classrooms and focus on instruction. As instruction gets better, discipline problems decrease. Kind of what we were saying earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our friend Tara says, need consistency and caring, putting students in first.
Ash, did you say Ashley O'Connor already?
I said, yeah, Ashley O'Connor, yeah.
Who's
Is
this guy?
Dave Goodrich?
It's Captain Gingerbeard.
Oh, wow.
Hey, I just wanted to pop in here and say I think you guys are doing a great job. And I had a quick question to throw your way as it relates to pineapples.
Okay.
So we kind of had a culture in the office helping us with our behavior. Did you ever, Jeff, in the classroom, use anything like pineapples? And maybe you could give a little background to what I'm describing with the pineapple.
Well, first off, you, sir, have been in a classroom too, so you can't keep pushing stuff off on me to answer all the time. Um, I, I guess I can talk about the pineapple briefly.
Yeah.
Uh, if you say something inappropriate, you put $1 in the pineapple, right?
Yeah.
And
It's a plastic bank that's shaped like a pineapple, and we put $1 in it, and there was over $100 in it last year at one point. So is there something, Jeff, that comparable that you had incorporated into your classroom like that?
you know what? To be honest with you,
That's
I
probably
suffer
illegal, right? To get money from your
to
kids.
take money from kids. I'm sure that there's policies for that. I mean, there's whole like classroom management stuff where you put people's names on the board and they get checks and all that stuff. Me personally, I never used it. I always prescribe to the to the notion that I'm just gonna. It didn't seem authentic to me. It was like kind of gamifying behavior management, and it's something I really
Did you
didn't
say
want to do.
gamifying or gamifying? Because gamifying would be like to put radiation in the room, and then they would grow to be like a bunch
And
of
I
Incredible
would never
Hulks.
do that to children.
You shouldn't.
Unlike Dave Goodrich, who is all about gamma rays.
Gamma rays. That's
But
right.
tell us about. Dave's from Jackson, so he's all about correctional behaviors.
Oh, hey, let's not go there. Let's
Okay.
go there. Let's
Did
not
you use
reinforce
anything like that, Dave?
stereotypes.
Honestly, not that I can think of, but I couldn't help but just think about the relationship between good leadership, even in like office settings, and good leadership as it relates to good teaching. And I can't help but see similarities. And I just think of Greg Marks and Peter Arashiro and their way of leading the IPD group very much kind of is in line with like good management techniques I see for the classroom, which don't always look like good management's taking place, right? I mean,
You know
sometimes
what the
it's
good,
chaos.
yeah, you know what the good management is from Peter and Greg is that they model the desired behaviors for us every single day. Um, Peter's one of the kindest people that I know, but expects the world of all of us because he expects even more of himself. I mean, and as a teacher, I think that's what good leadership in the classroom looks like a lot. And you make a great comparison, Dave. It, you know, when you model every single day what you expect, it goes a long way. And that pineapple thing that we have, that's for fun because it's something that we can joke about and harass each other about. But at the end of the day, we follow their lead because they're leading the charge. And I think good teachers do that. They lead the charge and they show the way for not just good behavior, but what teaching and learning should be, setting those expectations high.
Definitely. Definitely. So I think the chat already wrapped up. There is a question 7. It was the most important thing your building administrator can do to support classroom management, and I've got to highlight this one from Todd Block. He says, make teachers feel supported, not judged, when pooping in. And I swear it says pooping in. For sure says pooping in, and we know what you meant, and we're not going to give you garbage about that, Todd Block, because we love you and respect you. So
we're not going to give you any crap for that.
Oh, fun.
There's sound effects in here, isn't there?
I know, but I just like making my own.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. Before this gets off the rails here, we just want to thank Tara and Ann for moderating another successful michED chat every Wednesday night, 8 to 9. It goes so fast. I can't believe it's already after 9 o'clock. So, yeah, thanks for joining us, and Dave, thanks for joining us for 4.5 minutes.
Absolutely. Good
From
times.
your couch. It looks like a curious, comfortable couch.
It is nice.
It is nice. Okay, so we're gonna. I guess if you have any feedback for us, tweet at us. We're at michED Live. If you want to be on the show, let us know. We would love to have another voice in here. We don't want it to just be us all the time. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Take it easy, Michigan.
Have a great night, guys.